Hello, tribe. Welcome to today's Tuesday Tea. We are talking about why consistency feels so hard and how to fix it. Welcome to the Gentle Badass. Welcome to the Tuesday Tea. We come here together every week to discuss the tea of the week. Every week I post a Tuesday Tea newsletter, right? And then after that, we come together and we discuss. And today, what we're discussing is why is it so hard to stay consistent and how can you fix it, right? So if you have been struggling to, let's say you have a project and you always started but then you quit halfway, you go really hard but then you stop, we're going to talk about why that happens and how can you fix it, because it's probably, most probably, not what you are thinking it is. Okay, I see my friend Michelle is here. Yay. Hi Michelle. Hey beautiful. And if you are joining me live, say hello in the comments. And if you are joining me in the replay, I know some of you are going to catch the replay, just comment team replay first of all, so I can know that you have been watching the tea. And also because it helps reach more people, because I'm just starting on Substack, and the more you like and you share and you comment and whatever, the more women can have access to this information that I am so passionate about. By the way, if you don't know me by now, my name is Erika. I am your coach for what's next. What I do is help women who have been through a lot and have been doing the work to actually start building the life they want without self-neglect, self-sacrifice, and shrinking themselves. Okay, so this is a part of the whole thing. So are you ready to know what the hell is going on? Why is it that you can't stay consistent even though you've done so much work and you're like, what's happening? I have all this knowledge. Why can't I just follow through and do this thing every day like I said I was going to do? By the way, today we have iced tea because it's cold out here. I'm already sweating. I am already sweating. Okay, so by the way, if you haven't read the tea, that's totally fine, because I'm going to talk about the tea and I'm going to go a little bit deeper. But I advise you to go ahead and read it because, it's like I took notes for you. You know what I mean? And it's also fun to read. But yeah, okay. So let's talk about why is it hard to stay consistent, right? Because it's usually, let me tell you straight away, it's not because you are not disciplined or that you are not motivated, okay? So, and this is one of the things that actually keeps you stuck, because you think it's like a personality trait of yours, that you have something missing, that you are not being consistent because, you lack motivation and you lack discipline, and this is who you are, this is who you've always been. So it is what it is. And in reality, it's something way, way different than that. It's not that it's not like you are the problem. You're not the problem. You know that song by Taylor Swift, it's me, I'm the problem. In this case, it's not you, it's your environment, okay? It's the way you have things set up for you that actually do not allow you to stay consistent, right? So it's not more about fixing yourself, and mindset is really important, but there comes a time where like you've done everything and you're still not being consistent. Then that's the case. It's not discipline, it's not motivation, it's your environment. Okay, this is one of the reasons why it's hard to stay, because it's hello healing through seduction. I love your page and I love the name of your page. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So another thing that I think it's really getting in the way of your consistency is the way we define and see consistency. Okay, I feel like we see it the wrong way. It's not written and set in stone in any way, but I have experienced that this is how I thought about consistency, and my clients the same, and everybody the same. Even if you're like not consciously thinking about it, you are acting like it. And usually we think about consistency as like, I'm doing the same shit every day, the same way, with the same intensity and the same energy. And let's add the part where if you don't show up, then you're a failure, if you don't show up for one day or for two. So that's not true consistency, okay? And this is one of the things that is getting in your own way, because you're like automatically, no, I cannot be consistent because, I failed 1 or 2 days. When you have been consistent for 10 days. So what about the other 10 days that you have been consistent? The 2 days are not going to delete and erase what you've already done. But somehow we feel it's a failure, and we see it as a sign of, oh, I'm not being consistent. I rather quit. And this sounds like very crazy when I say it like that, but that's how we are. Our brain can play so many tricks on us. But you know what? We're here to debunk all of this and actually practice true consistency. Because after that, I'm going to share with you, obviously, the recipe for true consistency that I have shared in this week's tea. Okay? All right. So, last reason why I believe in, I know, I work with enough people to know that one problem that really gets in the way of your consistency is the fact that you are beating yourself constantly instead of supporting yourself, right? Instead of being like, let me support myself to help me, to help myself show up, you start beating yourself up, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about it when I share the recipe for true consistency and all the ingredients and all of that. But just put a pin on it because this is really important. It's one of the most important parts, but we're going to go deeper into that. Okay? Is this making sense, ladies? Do you agree with me? Michelle, can you tell me something? And healing through seduction. I don't know your name, my love. Maybe you can drop your name so I know what your name is. So I don't call you healing through seduction, even though it sounds really good. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, thank you for the hearts. Okay, that means that, okay, I'm doing something right. Okay, so let's talk about what is true consistency instead. All right, so we now are like, that's the true tea, right? That's the real tea. Consistency is not this thing, showing up every day, doing the same shit with the same energy. That does not work for women, right? We have a menstrual cycle, and I'm going to talk about it in a bit. We have a menstrual cycle. So it's crazy to think that consistency is going to look the same for 20, 28, 30 days. Like, it's not going to work like that. Yeah, Michelle is saying, I agree totally. Half of the time, the lack of consistency is not what we think. Absolutely. That's it. So, what is true consistency and what is it that we are trying to achieve here? So, we are trying to be consistent in a way that it means to show up for yourself constantly, but in a way that honors your energy and yourself, because that's what's going to allow you to stay consistent over time. So I'm going to give you an example. I did very recently a series that I was sharing on my Instagram and my YouTube, which was called 40 Before 40. And it was all about the lessons that I have learned before I turned 40. I turned 40 last Monday. Yeah. So I was sharing so every day I was recording a video and sharing a video, right? For 40 freaking days. And I even shared more than that. So how did I achieve that consistency? I was not pushing through. I was leaning into the energy that I was feeling, right? And if you stay here long enough, you are going to realize that sometimes I'm going to be here on Tuesday tea and I'm going to be like this. I'm going to tell you like, okay, my energy is a little bit low today. I'm just going to tell you straight away. And we're going to have a different kind of tea because I don't force myself, right? I mean, you have to be lively on camera and all of that, but I don't force myself to just pretend I'm in a different energy. So that allows you the freedom to constantly show up for yourself because you're like, on one day, I can do 10x, and on other day, I can do 2. And let 2 be okay. That's how you show up consistently. And everything is going to add up. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I was actually consistent. Okay. So this is how we see true consistency. But obviously, there are strategies behind it. And I know it's easier said than done, right? And you're probably like, yeah, I gotta know that, but it's easier said than done. And I got your back. That's why, that's why I make this tea every week with you, so we can talk about the recipes for you to go after what you want, but like in a balanced way, Okay, all right. Did I tell you that it adds up? So you're gonna see results after a week, after a month, after a year. Yeah, so probably during the day it feels sucky because you just did one thing, but you're still being consistent. Okay, that thing counts. All right, let's look at the recipe for consistency if you are ready. I mean, if you're not ready, I'll just I'm joking. Okay, if you read my Tuesday tea, you know that I usually share with you a real recipe. Okay. So what I wrote this week was, let me read it because I don't want to forget it. 2 tablespoons of making yourself a priority. We're going to talk about that. 1 tablespoon of working with your energy. 1 teaspoon of accountability. And 1 teaspoon of self correction, which is not the same as beating yourself up, because we get this thing wrong, especially if you have been through a lot in life. We have this tendency to kind of like punish ourselves instead of like just self correct. But we're going to get to it. Okay. So, recipe for true consistency. We're going to need 2 spoons of making yourself a priority. What does that mean? Come on, 2 tablespoons of making me a priority. Right? Let's go. So, what do I mean by that? I don't want you to be abstract. I don't want you to be like, yeah, I should do this. Yeah, I should make myself a priority and just raise. Yeah, I want you to really commit and just decide, you know what, I am going to make myself a priority. And I don't want you to just be like, oh, I'm going to make myself a priority and that's it. I want you to take a look at your life and check what are your priorities, not what you say your priorities are, because you probably say work, my kids. So just check your priorities, but like be very honest with yourself, right? Because some of us have as a priority helping other people out, and sometimes we don't have the energy, right? And we could be spending this energy doing something else, but we're like, we neglect ourselves in that way. So I really want you to be honest. And if you want, just take notes of it, because this is a beautiful exercise, and take an honest inventory of like, okay, what are my priorities? Because you may want to flip the list. Okay. So is it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I quit my job as a primary school teacher, right? Because I wanted to make my business a priority. And what happened when I had that job is that no matter how hard I tried, I was always making that job the priority, and I couldn't show up for my business consistently. Oh my God, Jesus. Right? And that's what happens. Remember when I told you that it's not about you being disciplined enough. Sometimes it's just like your environment and the things around you. It was impossible for me to show up. And for me, it was a priority to become a coach, a full-time coach, and do this. I love this. If I hadn't quit my job, I couldn't be here live with you and do all these things, wonderful things that I do besides serving my clients, right? Sometimes it's as big as, oh my God, I actually need to quit this job. And sometimes it's just easier things. Well, sometimes not so easy, but setting boundaries around you so you can actually make yourself a priority. Okay. So grab those tablespoons, put them in the kettle, and let's go. And if you want to comment, I commit. And by the way, if you're catching this on the replay, comment as well, because when we write things, when we engage, we simulate things better, okay? And also, I want to hear from you. Like, I would be lying if I didn't tell you that I want to hear from you, okay? Talk to me, baby. Okay. All right. Then we need to start working with our energy and not against it. We try to be consistent. And I feel like when we talk about the consistency, I feel like we try to be consistent as I have this vision of going up a mountain with a huge weight, on us, when we could just, have the right boots and just pack whatever is necessary. We'd be doing too much. I guess that's the tea. We've been doing too much. Don't work against your energy. What do I mean by that? You can do this in many different ways, right? And when I work with clients, and by the way, I have opened my Gentle Badass Academy, where we are going to cover many of these things, and we are going to work on it in real time. There's the Make the Move challenge that we are going to start now in July. And we are going to work on these things in real time. And we're going to talk about this specific thing On week 2, when we start working on the structure you need to really go after what you want, right? But just for you to start thinking about it and start practicing straight away if you want. What I mean by that is, for example, I'll give you a few examples. So for me, I am still a woman with a menstrual cycle. I do cycle syncing, right? That means, and I talk about it in my article, my Tuesday tea, also, so you can read it through. What I do is, for example, when I'm in my follicular phase or my ovulatory phase, I have a lot of energy. So a lot of the heavy lifting that I have to do throughout the month, I'm going to schedule everything over there. I'm going to be like, I'll be working 10 hours if I have to, because I do have the energy and I take that time to do the heavy lifting, right? And when I start going through my luteal phase and my energy starts going down, it's like I feel today, I'm like, this is not the same as yesterday. My energy starts going down. What I do more, since I have my own business, it's easier, I guess. But what I do more, for example, I do more planning. I don't execute in a lot of things. I will be doing more planning, more background work, more things like admin work, and obviously my non-negotiables, which are taking care of my clients, showing up for my community in the way that I can, and being authentic, being like, you know what, like your girl has no energy today. So this is one way of doing it. And then sometimes when I have clients, what I do is I'll try to figure out how their energy works, right? Because not everybody has a cycle, and it's just how things are. And what I do with them is trying to figure out, okay, how does their energy work, right? And I remember I had this client who, she had a very fiery energy, right? I visualize her energy like really going in bursts and then just like crashing down. And so she was sitting at her desk all day trying to figure out things in her business. And I was like, but if you have this type of energy, what you have to do is schedule some pauses throughout your day. So take advantage of that fire energy because it's so good. It gives you like a good jump start, but then allow yourself to reset before you get too tired, right? So this is just one example. And again, we're going to talk about this inside of the Gentle Badass Academy. And what you can start doing is study your energy. Figure out how does your energy work, and take notes. When I started cycle syncing, what I did was start a journal and just, this is my luteal phase. What am I feeling? What's the energy? There's a lot of things that go into it, but it's worth you looking into, okay, how does really my energy works? Because that's how you can honor your energy, because it's going to go in cycles. If you're just like, oh, I'm going to go with the flow, sometimes it doesn't work. Because, for example, during my ovulatory phase where I'm like very active, sometimes I just want to be out, right? I just want to have fun. And I'm like, yeah, Erika, you have now energy to do these things. You're going to do these things and then you're going to go out. But like, it's a beautiful way to manage yourself. I don't have other way to putting it. Okay. All right. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? And again, I'm so happy about the Academy because I get to go deep with you on these things, and I can answer you live. Anyways, let's move on. All right. Did I say everything about your energy? I did everything I could. Okay, then we've got 2 tablespoons of accountability. And let me take a sip of this tea because it's hot. I mean, it's hot. The tea is cold, thank God. Okay, 2 tablespoons of accountability. I don't know why accountability is so underrated. Well, I do, because a lot of people, a lot of women like us, we're so strong. We're supposed to do everything by ourselves. Like, raise a hand if that's you, right? We're supposed to do everything by ourselves. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be seen failing. A lot of things go into not wanting to have accountability in your life. I don't mean accountability in general, but I mean accountability if you are working in a project and you could use for some like this motivation burst that other people and only other people and community can give you, right? Because motivation is going to come and go. And I don't know about you, but me, when I have to send someone a message that I'm done with something, or I have to show up with my coach, with my mastermind, and I have to tell them what I did, I'm going to do the thing, So accountability is very useful when you want to stay consistent, because it gives you that constant thing where you are going to show up always. You're going to show up always, right? And that's one of the things that I also love about the academy, because inside we are going to have these co-working sessions that I've called, hold on, get get shit together gently, where we're going to do co-working so we can like keep each other accountable. It's going to be beautiful. But you can do this as a community, you can do this individually, right? And use the power of accountability. You can even talk to a friend. When I was doing my book proposal, for example, I had a writing buddy, and the only thing I didn't even know her that well. We were just like DMing on WhatsApp because we were part of the Hay House group, and we would just check it, just DM each other done when we've written our 100 words per day. And that was it. And that really helped me get my book proposal out. That's the power of consistency. And if I would have tried to do this by myself, maybe I would get there. But I doubt it. There were some days that I just started writing because I had her on the other side. That's probably something you already experienced as well, but I feel like we keep forgetting sometimes. Yeah. So get both. Get community support, get a friend to be your accountability buddy so you can actually show up. Is this making sense, tribe? And let me know in the comments. If you're catching this on the replay, I see you, I feel your energy. And if you're live as well, of course, feel free to comment. Okay, lastly, oh my God, I am on time. I love this. Okay, lastly, we need 1 tablespoon of self-correction, which is not the same as beating yourself up. When I wasn't even going to share the story, but anyways, when I was a victim of abuse as a child, right? And I feel that because of what I have experienced, I used to talk to myself in a very harsh way, right? Be like, oh my God, you're a failure. Oh my God, here we go again. I knew it. I knew you couldn't do this. Like, you don't have it. I was, calling myself names, all sorts of stuff. And then I realized that it wasn't helping me achieve anything. It wasn't helping me stay consistent. It was just contributing to my anxiety. Yes, it would give me a little bit of power, but then it would fade as fast as it came, right? And what I like to think about, and what I also like to offer you as a question, if you do this to yourself, if you beat yourself up, for example, if you skip a day of something, if you let go of your goals for a month, right? If you beat yourself up, just think about, would you gladly show up for someone who is constantly bringing yourself down? Would you show up for them and be like, yes, let's do it. Yes, let's stay consistent. You wouldn't, right? Because that person would make you feel nervous. That person would make you feel anxious. That person would make you feel like you want to quit your job, right? How many of us have quit a job because it was just like being abused every day? And sometimes that's what we do to ourselves. And it's completely counterproductive. But I have found that many of us, we have this inner chatter in our minds. So that's what we do. And it looks like it's helping our consistency. We do this we do this in a way it's not conscious. It's probably unconscious. You sometimes don't even realize you are doing it, but it's hindering you. It's hindering your confidence. It's hindering the trust in yourself. And that's why you're not able to stay truly consistent. So really pay attention to that. And instead of beating yourself up, I want you to now focus on self-correction, okay? Which means use self-compassion, right? And then self-correct, because you're going to fail. We're all going to fail. I fail all the time. Like, I failed so much before I could sell my products. I failed so much before I could do a live and actually say what I wanted to say, do my present. I failed so much, but that's normal, okay? And instead of beating yourself up next time, and I want you to promise, okay? And if you agree with me, if you are up for the challenge, next time you fail, I want you to give yourself the biggest hug you've ever given yourself, right? And stay there, and stay there. And then self-correct, and then be like, okay, we fucked up this part. What can we do? What can we do next time? Okay, it is fine. It is not a big deal. Our brain make it as it is a survival thing, but it's not. We're gonna be okay after we fail. Okay, I love your transparency. Thank you. That's what a gentle badass does. Let's go. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so we are here and we want to move into thriving mentality, thriving thoughts. We want to build, we want to stay consistent, but in a way that aligns. So that is the recipe. That is the recipe for today's tea. And before I let you go, I already told you about the Gentle Badass Academy. I am so freaking excited about this. This is our premium subscription inside of the Gentle Badass. And you will have access to our awesome 21-day challenge, Make the Move, that I have created to help you build the life that you want without self neglect, without self sacrifice, without shrinking and without forcing yourself. We don't like that, okay? So I have created this challenge, and inside of the academy, you have access to the challenge. You have access to all of the co-working sessions that I was telling you about. I mean, if you want to stay consistent, this is the place to be. And since I'm just starting on Substack, I'm just starting this thing. If you are a founding member, you've got 1 year inside of the Gentle Badass Academy. Guess for what? 33 euros. No brainer, right? No brainer. Let me drop the link for you. Of course, I forgot to grab the link. Let me grab the link for you. So you can subscribe to the academy. I would love to see some of you over there. If you have done a lot of work and you are now focusing on the next stage of your life, which is to actually build the life that you want, and you know the importance of support and community, and you want to have an expert by your side who've already done all of this, still building, still doing all the things, right? Because I'm not a guru or anything, but I know a thing or two, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna find the link and I'm gonna drop it probably in the comments below when I end this video, because I want to focus on you now. Let me know if you have any questions. Got question? Oh, I found the link. Look at that. That was easy. Okay, let me drop the link over here. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you don't have any questions, I am going to say goodbye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much, really, for joining me. We are doing this every Tuesday. It's part of the Gentle Badass. It's part of the free access. Everybody's in, right? And yeah, go ahead and read the tea as well, because I think I shared some things that are not on the tea and on the tea, and and the other way around. And this was amazing. I am loving this. This was the second one. Next week, I'll see you at the same time or on the replay. And what's the topic next week? It's a surprise. Every tea is a surprise. I know this is counter any marketing advice out there, but I don't really care. Every week, whatever inspires me, whatever I feel like it's the tea that our tribe needs to listen to, that's what we're gonna have. Okay? Thank you so much. Go ahead, be a badass, but remember, be gentle with yourself. Bye.